Thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here with a very famous guy at resource shows. He tells you how it is, and I'm not going to go into it because I've seen it where it's been very, very heated because he's been telling the truth to some people at these shows, and he visits these shows. I trust him like no one else. TheMercenaryGeologist.com, Mickey Falk.
Hey, thanks for the kind words, Daniel.
Thank you, sir, for being with us. A lot of people, they want to get involved in this junior market. What do you suspect, or what are you looking as far as the sentiment, as far as is now a good time to get in?
Well, I'm a contrarian, so I think this is going to be a wonderful time to get in, because what we've had and what we will continue to have is tax loss selling. The market's been pretty brutal over most this year, so we're going to have tax loss selling. And then the Obama election has really, in my opinion, resulted in a predictable market meltdown over the last week. So for the next month or so, I think we're going to still have a downtick, and that's going to lead to some buying opportunities, because what happens in any market, in a bear market, everything goes down, the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, and so use an analogy, then the good companies get thrown out the same as the bad companies. So there's going to be some really nice picks here, I would say, in the next month or so.
When you go to these shows, how does this show compare to, let's say, last year's shows, or what you've been experiencing in, Vancouver and all across this country?
Well, yeah. So the San Francisco Hard Asset Show is the biggest show of this type investment show in the United States. It's not quite as big as a couple of them in Canada, but it's kind of the premier show in the United States. Attendance is down this year, as is predictable, because it often goes with the boisterousness of the market. A bull market, more people are interested in what we do. In a bear market, less interested. But so there's probably less people here this year, but that gives me an opportunity to get around the show a little bit, look at some more companies, talk to some more people, have a few more meetings, and perhaps ferret out some good ideas, new ideas for me.
What are some initial questions you think the average person should be asking if they call one of these companies or visit one of these booths?
For me, there's three key criteria: be share structure, people, and projects. Now, I'm a geologist, so I go directly to the project. So I want either a flagship project, an advanced explorer generally gives you the biggest bang for your buck, the greatest potential for upside, the uptick. Or perhaps a prospect generator. We want to look at a tight share structure where the management has significant skin in the game, so their goals are the same as their retail shareholders. And finally, you want to look at the people that are involved, and you want to make sure that the people have a track record in this business. I prefer geologists and engineers leading these companies because we are very technically oriented. These are exploration and mining projects. And finally, you want to make sure that those people have a successful track record, not only a track record, because there's a lot of failures in this business. So someone that's bankrupted 3 companies, I no longer consider a venture capitalist or an entrepreneur.
Just guesstimate, what do you think, let's say there's 300 companies here today, how many of them are going to be around in 2 years?
In 2 years, I would guess probably 1/3 of those companies will still be around in their present form, their present name, without a rollback. Because what's happened, especially if this bear market continues, a lot of these companies will basically dilute themselves with equity financings beyond all. What's the word I want to use there? Legitimacy, if you will, and they'll have to roll back. So that doesn't count. That's a failed company for me. So I would guess about 1/3 of these companies will still be viable in a couple of years.
One of the companies we cover, and I know you're a consultant for them, and you got in very early, is Amir Adnani's Brazil Resources.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that company right now as far as the prospect? I know they are an exploration company.
Right. So I'm gonna do a bit of a disclaimer before we start, and I'm not really a consultant to the company. They sponsor my website, so okay. I cover them as an analyst, and I'm a shareholder. So I'm horribly biased. They actually pay me a monthly fee to sponsor my website, and I have significant skin in the game, early on skin in the game. I came into Brazil Resources. I was invited in pre-IPO as a newsletter writer who could perhaps add value to the company. I chose to come in because I had previous experience with Amir Adnani through UEC, Uranium Energy Corp. I've been a shareholder of that company for quite a while. The success of his venture with that company and the idea of going to Brazil, which has been a neglected gold destination for the junior companies with immense geologic potential, I see Brazil as untapped. So based on those two things, the right people coming in early, committed investors who stick with deals, those three things led me to become a shareholder of BRI, and they've done nothing but reward me as a shareholder, and even post-IPO, they maintained their share price in a very bad market, which is quite encouraging.
Yeah. What are your feelings for gold right now? The actual commodity, just gold price. I mean,
well, it's pretty certain that gold's going to end the 2012 higher than it started 2012. We're able to say that for the last 12 years. So 2013, I will definitely predict that the gold price will end up at the end of 2013 higher than it starts, and that makes sense because these fiat currencies and quantitative easing and Operation Twist and all the other things the Fed's doing in the United States and other governments throughout the world are doing with their currencies is devaluing those currencies by with the stroke of the keyboard creating more money. So it stands to reason the price of gold is going to increase.
Do you find yourself looking at the gold price a lot, or are you more focused on the equities and the projects that are out there?
I always look at the gold price. I'm running and this is probably a little plug for Kitco, I'm running my KCAS constantly on my computer. Not only do I monitor on a minute-by-minute basis price of gold, I got silver, platinum, and palladium too. I've been paying particular attention to the platinum market. That always intrigues me. I look at ratios between metals, and I'm a buyer of physical bullion. I'm one of those guys that wants 10% of his net wealth in physical precious metals, mainly gold, at any time, because gold, as we all know, retains its purchasing power. So I'm always watching those. I'm watching the metals market, industrial metals. I'm very much in tune with what goes in the copper market. With a PhD in economics, it tells us at least the speculators' view of the short-term trend of the economy of the world.
On the platinum market, how do you feel that it's going to affect it with the Sprott's new fund that they're coming out with?
Well, what generally happens anytime one of these ETFs are launched, and we saw that with gold, we've seen it with the first platinum ETFs and palladium, it results in an increase in price because you're essentially taking physical metal off the market. So there is metal that's in storage that's no longer, especially in platinum palladium's cases, which they are hybrid metals. They're industrial metals that have some precious metal hoarding component to them. So I would expect that to be positive for the price of platinum.
Mickey, as a geologist, from my understanding, just somebody who researches stocks and commodities, I look at the supply of gold, and then I look at the above ground available supply of silver. Clearly, there is a lot more gold above ground that's available than there is silver.
That's true.
Why is silver so cheap compared to gold? Even though the mining ratio is around 10 to 1, I guess, in production, but it's 55 to 1 in price.
Yeah, I'm not sure about production, but certainly the abundance in the Earth's crust is 16 to 1. So, but the real deal is silver's an industrial metal. It hadn't been really used for money for a long time, since really Spanish doubloons, if you will, pieces of 8. So I mean, it did go on longer than that, but silver is mainly industrial metal. So it goes up and down with the health of the world's economy. In times of duress, it can become more of a precious metal because it can be hoarded. But it's basically used, so it doesn't really function. Gold really has no use. It's hoarded. That's really all that it's used for, is hoarding. It's a store of value. It is the only money. Silver is not money. I call it the bipolar metal.
Does that scare you that it's just hoarded? It's not really used for anything?
The gold?
Yeah.
No, because it's been money from day one. Civilizations time immemorial.
It's in our DNA.
Since humans first went from a strictly barter economy to some sort of monetary instrument, gold's been the metal of choice, and that's because Aristotle had it right with his 4 or 5 reasons why gold is money, and it meets all those criteria. Limited supply is mainly the real reason. There's not a lot of gold in the world.
Mickey, it's a pleasure talking to you. If somebody wants to reach out to you, can they ask you a question through email, or should they just subscribe to your newsletter?
Well, I can be reached at contact@mercenarygeologist.com. I run a website, mercenarygeologist.com. Run a free subscription model because companies that I own and cover sponsor my website. So everything I do is free, and we also run mercenarygeologist.asia in simplified Chinese. Got a 24/7 FM internet radio station, mercenarygeologist.fm. This interview will be posted on that for everybody to listen to, and so I'd encourage everybody to come and see what I'm all about.
Awesome. Thanks so much, sir.
All right, thanks.